Hello, and welcome back to What Is. Today, we are discussing the ultimate gentleman's sport, the thunderous, high-speed collision of horsepower and noble ambition. Polo. You might think you know what polo is. You picture wide green fields, crisp white trousers, wooden mallets, and maybe a few champagne flutes on the sideline. You picture it as the refined pastime of royalty and the ridiculously wealthy, and you wouldn't be wrong. But to truly understand polo, you have to look beyond the spectacle. You have to understand that this sport, where men ride full tilt while attempting to hit a tiny plastic ball with a stick, is ancient, brutal, and in its original form, indistinguishable from a small-scale battle. So, let's mount up. What exactly is polo? At its simplest, polo is two teams on horseback, usually 4 players per side, aiming to drive a small ball into the opposing team's goal using a long-handled mallet. The game is played on a vast field, about 10 acres in size, the equivalent of 9 standard American football fields combined. This scale is necessary because of the speed. These are not leisurely trots. These athletes, both human and equine, are moving at 35 miles per hour. The action is divided into periods called chukas, traditionally 6 per game, each lasting 7.5 minutes. These periods are broken up purely for the benefit of the real athletes. The horses are, yes, the polo pony, a term that is deeply misleading. These are not shaggy Shetland ponies. They are highly trained, powerful horses, often thoroughbred mixes, specialized for explosive bursts and sudden, jarring turns. They are the engine, the brakes, and 50% of the talent, and unlike almost every other sport, the teams change ends every time a goal is scored. Why? Because the sun and the wind are considered too great an advantage to keep for long. In polo, even the atmosphere has a score to settle. To understand the intensity, we must travel back in time, over 2,000 years, to the birthplace of the game, ancient Persia, now modern Iran, where it was known as chavgan. This was not a sport of leisure. It was the ultimate training ground for the elite cavalry units, used specifically to hone the skills of soldiers. Quick reflexes, strategic thinking while balancing at speed, and the sheer audacity required to swing a weapon one-handed from horseback. In these early days, the scale was shocking. Historical accounts describe matches not between 4 versus 4, but between massive teams, sometimes involving 100 riders, or even tournaments where rival towns fielded 1,000 horses each. It was less a game and more a controlled riot. The goal structure wouldn't have been a simple frame, but often the severed head of a captured rival. Polo was brutal, deadly, and utterly essential for a dominant empire. Kings, sultans, and tribal leaders used these games to project power. From Persia, the game traveled, migrating through the centuries with the conquering armies. It was adopted by the Mughal emperors of India and spread north into Tibet, where the name itself, Polo, is thought to have originated, meaning ball or root. But the game remained largely an unstructured, regional pastime until the mid-19th century, when the British military stationed in India discovered it. The officers, recognizing the fantastic combination of athleticism and danger, immediately recognized its potential. They took the ancient, chaotic battlefield drill and, in true British fashion, did 2 things. They standardized it, and they made it a vehicle for aristocracy. In 1859, the first official polo club was established in Manipur, India. 15 years later, the soldiers brought it home to Britain, playing the first match in England on Hounslow Heath. The rules were formalized. The field size was set. The number of players was reduced to 4, and the duration to 6. Chukas, Crucially, they introduced the most defining feature of modern polo, the handicap system. Most sports rate their players based on goals scored or games won. Polo rates players on their ability. The handicap is a numeric rating, ranging from negative to a beginner to 10 goals, the rarest possible expert. Your handicap is meant to represent the number of goals you are conceptually worth to your team. Only a handful of players in the world hold the mythic 10-goal rating. The system is designed so that two uneven teams can still compete. The team with a lower overall handicap receives the difference in goals added to their score before the game even begins. It's complex, yes, but it's brilliant. It means that a veteran tangle player is still challenged, knowing that every move he makes is offsetting goals the opposing team was given simply for having less experienced players. The modern game flourished, particularly after the establishment of the Argentine Polo Association in the 1920s. Argentina, with its perfect grassland, massive herds, and unrivaled horse breeding, quickly became the global epicenter of the sport, producing the majority of the current 0 to 10 goal players in the world. They took the sport of kings and turned it into a national obsession. So, what is polo? It is more than just rich men hitting balls. It is dynamic geometry executed at high velocity. It is a sport where 80% of the game is about the horse, and the remaining 20% is the rider trying desperately not to ruin the horse's performance. It is a connection to a distant, violent past, where athletic training meant the difference between life and death. Polo is history, refined and redefined. It is speed, coordination, and the delicate, perilous dance between two powerful beings working as one. It is the only sport where your teammate literally has 4 legs and a brain the size of a pumpkin. And if you've ever wondered why it's so expensive, it's not the stick. It's the specialized team of 12 horses required to get through a single match without injury. If you enjoyed learning about the ancient and aristocratic game of polo, be sure to hit that like button. Let us know in the comments which obscure historical sport we should cover next. And don't forget to subscribe to What Is for more deep dives into the topics you thought you already knew. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.